My husband looked me in the eyes during a dinner with friends and said, "I want an open marriage." Before I could breathe, his best friend yelled, "Finally!" so loudly that everyone at the table was shocked. In that second, my world turned upside down. I had no idea of the hell I was about to live through. I couldn't even imagine the lies that had been hidden for a long time, years well below from my nose. But what happened next? Nobody expected it, least of all me. Get ready, because my story will leave you speechless from beginning to end. I always thought I knew my husband completely. My name is Sarah, I'm 40 years old, and for 15 years I lived in a marriage that I thought was happy. I thought we had respect, complicity, true love. I was wrong. It all started on an ordinary Friday night. Michael, my husband, had arranged a dinner with Brian, his best friend from college, and 2 other couples. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just a quiet evening among friends. But when we sat down at that table, I had no idea that my entire life was about to crumble. The next words that would come out of my husband's mouth would change everything. Absolutely everything. Before I tell you what happened, I want to know what city and country you're watching me from right now. Leave it in the comments. The restaurant was packed that night. We'd managed to get a table by the window, one of those with a nice view of the street. I was sitting next to Michael, and Brian was right across from me. The other 2 couples, Mark and Lisa, and Tom and Jennifer, completed the table. Everyone was chatting, laughing, ordering drinks. It was a normal Friday, or at least that's what I thought. I had ordered a red wine. Michael ordered a beer. We were looking at the menu, deciding what to eat, when he put the menu on the table and looked at me. There was something in his gaze, something different, something that gave me butterflies in my stomach. "Sarah, I need to talk to you about something." I laughed. I thought he was going to make a joke. "Speak, love." He took a deep breath. He looked at his friends. He looked back at me. And then he said, "I want an open marriage." The noise from the restaurant disappeared. I swear it was like someone had pressed a mute button on the entire world. I couldn't process what he had just said. Open marriage. The words kept echoing in my head. Open marriage. Open marriage. I looked at him, expecting him to say it was a joke, that he would laugh and say it was just to see my reaction. But he didn't laugh. He was serious. Completely serious. And before I could say anything, before I could breathe, think, react, Brian slammed both hands on the table so hard that the glasses shook. "Finally!" he yelled. He literally yelled in the middle of the restaurant. People at the surrounding tables turned to look. Brian had a huge smile on his face, as if Michael had just announced he'd won the lottery. "Dude, I thought you'd never have the courage to say that." I looked at Brian. I looked at Michael. I looked at the other couples at the table. Lisa's mouth was open. Jennifer was staring at her plate, clearly uncomfortable. Mark and Tom exchanged glances. "Wait." My voice came out weak. "You already knew this." Michael cleared his throat. "I've mentioned it to Brian a few times." "Yes. Sometimes." He had mentioned to his best friend a few times that he wanted an open marriage. And I, his wife, was finding out about it now. In front of everyone. In a crowded restaurant. "Michael, can we talk about this at home?" I tried to stay calm. I tried not to make a scene, but my heart was racing. My hands were shaking. "Sarah, I just think we need a little more freedom. We've been together for 15 years. It's natural for things to get a little monotonous." Monotonous. He had just called our marriage monotonous. In front of our friends, Brian leaned forward. "Sarah, look, I know it sounds strange now, but think about it. Open marriage can be very healthy. You stay together, you still love each other, but you have the freedom to explore other connections. It's modern. It's evolved." I looked at him, at the way he was talking, at the way he was looking at me. There was something in his eyes, something I had never noticed before. Evolved. I repeated his word, it feeling strange in my mouth. "Exactly." Brian smiled. "Look, Sarah, I know you're an amazing woman. You deserve to feel desired. to feel free. Michael is just being honest with you. That takes courage, doesn't it? I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to think. Everything was happening too fast. My husband had just proposed an open marriage. His best friend had celebrated as if it were the best news in the world. And now he was telling me that I deserved to feel desired. I need to go to the bathroom. I got up from the table. My legs were wobbly. I walked through the restaurant, went into the bathroom, closed the stall door, and leaned against it. My marriage was ending. I knew it. Deep down, I knew. Michael wasn't asking for freedom. He was asking for permission to cheat on me without guilt. And Brian was celebrating. Why? Why was his best friend so happy about the idea of our marriage opening up? I looked in the mirror. My reflection looked back at me. A 40-year-old woman. Still beautiful. Still strong. But in that moment, I felt small. I felt lost. I took a deep breath. I couldn't fall apart there. Not in front of everyone. I went back to the table. Michael was chatting with the others as if nothing had happened. Brian was looking at his phone, still with that annoying smile on his face. I sat down. I picked up my glass of wine, and I drank it all in one go. "Okay," I said. "We'll talk about it at home." Michael smiled, as if I had just agreed with him, as if everything was settled, but nothing was resolved. Nothing was right. And I still didn't know that that night was just the beginning of a story that would turn my life upside down in a way I could never, ever imagine. Have you ever been in a situation where someone you love dropped a bombshell on you out of nowhere? Leave a comment below about how you dealt with it. And if you're enjoying my story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next stories. Because what comes after this night is something you won't believe. The drive home was silent. Michael drove looking straight ahead, as if nothing had happened. I was in the passenger seat, looking out the window, trying to understand what had just happened at that dinner. When we got home, he went straight to the bedroom. He took off his clothes, put on his pajamas, and lay down on the bed as if it were a normal night, as if he hadn't just blown up our marriage in front of everyone. I stood there in the doorway of the room, staring at him. "Michael, we need to talk about this." "Sarah, I'm tired. We'll talk tomorrow." Tomorrow. He wanted to leave it for tomorrow. I took a deep breath. I went into the bathroom, removed my makeup, and changed my clothes. When I returned to the room, he was already asleep, or pretending to be. I lay on my side of the bed and stared at the ceiling. My mind wouldn't stop racing. Open marriage. Brian celebrating. Michael calling our life monotonous. It all spun around in my head. The next day, I woke up and Michael had already left. He left a note in the kitchen saying he'd gone to play basketball with his friends. With his friends. Probably with Brian. I was home alone all day. I thought about calling my sister. I thought about calling my best friend. But what was I going to say? That my husband wanted an open marriage and I was thinking of agreeing to it. Because I was thinking about accepting. Not because I wanted to, but because I was desperate. I was afraid of losing my marriage. Afraid of being alone. Afraid of starting over at 40. When Michael arrived home that night, he came to hug me as if nothing had happened. "Sarah, I know yesterday was kind of rough, but I just want us to be honest with each other. I love you. I just think we can have more freedom and still be together." I looked at him. At the man I had married 15 years ago. Did I still love him? I didn't know anymore. "Okay," I said. "We can try." The smile that appeared on his face made me feel nauseous, but I had accepted it. I had agreed to the open marriage. In the following weeks, Michael started going out more. He said he was going to meet friends, that he was going to work late, that he had a happy hour with his work colleagues. I accepted everything. After all, we had an open marriage now, didn't we? But something was bothering me. Brian started showing up at my house more often. He would come to visit Michael, but Michael wasn't always there. And when Michael wasn't, Brian would stay. He would talk to me, ask how I was, say I looked tired, that I deserved more attention. One day, I was in the kitchen making coffee when Brian showed up. Michael had left early for a meeting. "Hi, Sarah. Is Michael there?" "No, he left." Brian didn't leave. He went into the kitchen. He sat on the stool at the counter. "Can I have a coffee with you?" I poured him a cup of tea. We chatted about silly things. The weather, a movie that was on TV, a news story he'd seen. But all the while, I felt his eyes on me. Not in a normal way, in a different way. "Sarah, can I ask you a question?" "He can." "Are you happy?" The question caught me off guard. "What?" "With Michael. With the open marriage. Are you really happy?" I didn't know what to answer. Because the truth was, no, I wasn't happy. I was miserable. "I'm adapting," I said. Brian leaned forward. "You deserve better, Sarah. You deserve someone who values you, who looks at you and sees how amazing you are." I stepped away. "Brian, you're Michael's best friend." "I know," he said, and there was something in his voice, something that made me realize this conversation wasn't innocent. After he left, I kept thinking. The way Brian had celebrated at dinner, the way he was always around, the way he looked at me. That night, when Michael got home, I noticed he was different. He was on his phone the whole time, smiling at the screen, typing messages and quickly deleting them when I approached. "Who is it?" I asked. "Huh?" He looked at me as if he'd forgotten I was there. "Who are you talking to?" "Oh, it's the people from work. Nothing serious." But it was too much. I knew it was. I started paying attention. To the times Michael went out. To the places he said he was going. And I began to notice a pattern. Every time Michael went out, Brian also disappeared from social media. Every time Michael came home late, Brian would post something as if he had just arrived home too. They were together. I was sure of it. But why? Why was my husband's best friend always in the same places as him? Why were they constantly talking on the phone? And why was Brian looking at me like that? I was starting to realize that something very wrong was going on. Something that went beyond a simple open marriage. But I still didn't know exactly what. I just knew I needed to find out. Because the feeling in my chest told me that everything I thought I knew about my life was a lie. I'm not the snooping type. I never have been. But at that point in my life, I needed to know the truth. I needed to understand what was happening. It all started on a Thursday afternoon. Michael had said he was going out with his work friends. He left home around 7 in the evening. I waited about 20 minutes and opened Instagram. I went to Brian's profile. He had posted a photo on his stories. A beer, a bar. The same bar that Michael had mentioned. Coincidence. Maybe. But I was starting to stop believing in coincidences. I grabbed my phone and decided to do something I'd never done before. I was going to follow my husband. I put on dark clothes, grabbed my car keys, and drove to the bar. When I got there, I parked across the street where I could see the entrance, but no one could see me. And there they were, Michael and Brian, sitting at a table near the window. Just the two of them. No other friends from work. No other friends from college. Just the two of them. They were talking. Laughing. Brian showed me something on his phone and Michael laughed loudly. They seemed closer than I remembered. More intimate. And there was something strange about the way they were acting. Like they had a secret. Like they were planning something. I stood there for an hour. Just watching. And the more I watched, the more I noticed. Their body language. The way Brian touched Michael's arm when he spoke. The way Michael looked at his phone and smiled. They didn't seem like two friends having a beer. They seemed like two people plotting something. When they finally left the bar, I followed Michael's car. He didn't go straight home. He went to an empty parking lot. Brian's car was there too. They stayed talking in their cars for another 40 minutes. I stayed hidden, far enough away not to be seen, but close enough to see that they were having a serious conversation. A serious and long one. When I finally got away and went home before Michael, my head was exploding. What were they talking about? Why did they need to meet alone so often? And more importantly, why did they need to stay talking in an empty parking lot after already spending an hour at the bar? In the following days, I started paying more attention to everything. To the phone calls Michael received and answered in another room. To the messages he deleted as soon as he read them. To the weekends when he said he had commitments but never invited me to go along. I was starting to piece together a puzzle in my head, but many pieces were still missing. And Brian. Brian started showing up even more. He would come to the house midweek. He asked if Michael was there. But when I said no, he stayed. He always stayed, and he stayed longer and longer each time. Sarah, you seem worried. Is everything all right? I'm just tired. Is Michael paying attention to you? Because an open marriage doesn't mean abandoning your wife, you know? You also have rights. You can go out too. You can meet other people. I would look at him when he said those things, and I would see it. I would see the interest in his eyes. The way he would look me up and down when he thought I wasn't paying attention. The way he always found an excuse to touch my arm, my shoulder, my hands. A week after the night at the bar, I was home alone when Michael's cell phone rang. He'd left it on the coffee table in the living room. I looked at the screen. It was a message from an unnamed number. Tonight, same place. My heart raced. I grabbed his phone. I typed in the password. He'd never changed the password. It was our wedding anniversary date. How ironic. I went into the messages. I looked for the number. There were several deleted conversations. But the messaging app had a backup. I knew that. I had set up his phone when we bought the new phones 2 years ago. I went into the settings. I restored the messages from the last 3 months. My fingers were trembling. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in the silence of the empty house. And then I saw messages, hundreds of messages, between Michael and a number I didn't recognize. But from the content of the messages, I knew exactly who it was. It was a woman. She sent photos. He replied with heart emojis. They arranged meetings, hotels, restaurants far from the city, places where no one we knew would see them together. I sat on the sofa. My legs couldn't support me anymore. My husband was cheating on me. He had asked for an open marriage, but he had already been cheating on me before. Long before. The oldest messages were from 6 months ago. 6 months. He had been with this woman for half a year, and I didn't know anything. He just wanted an excuse. He just wanted me to accept the open marriage so he wouldn't have to hide it anymore. So he could go out with her without guilt, without fear of being found out. But there was more. I kept looking at the messages, scrolling up, reading conversation after conversation, and then I saw messages between Michael and Brian. Conversations about me, about the wedding, about the open marriage proposal. Dude, when are you going to propose an open marriage to her? I still don't know. I'm afraid of her reaction. Make it for dinner on Friday. I'll help you. We'll make it look natural. They had planned it. The whole scene in the restaurant had been planned. Brian's reaction wasn't spontaneous. It was calculated, rehearsed. It was all part of a plan the two of them had put together. And Ashley? Is she putting pressure on me? Yes. She wants me to leave the house soon. Calm down. Let Sarah accept it first. Then you can gradually remove her from the equation. Getting her out of the way. Me, his wife of 15 years. The woman who had built a life with him. I was an obstacle that needed to be removed. I took pictures of all the messages. I saved them on my phone. Every conversation, every plan, every lie. I deleted the restore history on Michael's phone. I put everything back exactly where it was. When Michael arrived home that night, I was sitting on the couch watching TV as if nothing had happened. As if my world hadn't just completely crumbled. Hi, love. How are you? Everything, I said. You forgot your cell phone here. Oh, right. Thank you. He grabbed his phone and went to his room without even giving me a kiss, without even asking me how my day was. I stood there, staring at the TV but seeing nothing. My husband was cheating on me with a woman named Ashley. He wanted me out of the way. His best friend knew everything from the beginning. They had planned that scene at the restaurant together, and Brian had some plan that I still didn't fully understand. But I was going to understand. I was going to figure it all out. Because if there was one thing I'd learned in the last few weeks, it was this. I didn't know anyone anymore. And it was time for me to find out who the people around me really were. It was time for me to stop being the victim and start being the investigator of my own life. After discovering the messages, I changed. On the outside, I was still the same Sarah. Smiling, cooking, cleaning the house, pretending everything was fine. But inside, I was planning. I was gathering evidence. I was preparing. I created a secret folder on my phone. I put all the photos of the messages there. All the conversations between Michael and Ashley. All the conversations between Michael and Brian. Every lie. Every plan. Every betrayal. I had it all documented. But I didn't confront him. Not yet. Because I needed to know more. I needed to understand the whole plan. And I needed to find out what Brian really wanted. In the following days, I started pretending that I was truly accepting the open marriage. I stopped asking where Michael was going. I stopped questioning his schedule. I simply let him do whatever he wanted. And that's exactly what made Brian get even closer. One Tuesday afternoon, he showed up at my house. Michael was at work. I was in the living room, folding clothes. "Hi, Sarah. May I come in?" Of course. He came in. He sat on the sofa. He looked at me for a while before speaking. "You're different." "Different how?" "Lighter, more relaxed." "The open marriage is doing you good." I forced a smile. "I'm trying to adapt. You know you can go out too, right? You can meet other people, explore." I stopped folding the clothes and looked at him. "Explore?" "Yes, you're a beautiful woman, Sarah. Intelligent, interesting. You don't need to stay here at home waiting for Michael to come back. You can live your own life, too." There was something about the way he was talking, the way he was looking at me. He wasn't being a concerned friend. He was flirting with me. "Brian, you are Michael's best friend." "So what?" He leaned forward. "Sarah, I always thought you were amazing. Ever since the day Michael introduced you to me in college, I always thought he didn't deserve you." My heart raced. Not because I was interested, but because the pieces were finally falling into place. "Are you serious?" "Completely." He stood up and came over to where I was. He stood close. Too close. "Sarah, I know you're hurt. I know Michael isn't giving you the attention you deserve, but I can. I can make you happy." I took a step back. "Brian, this is crazy. Is it madness or is it honesty?" He smiled. "Think about it. Michael has Ashley. You can have someone too. You can have someone who truly values you. And that person would be you. Why not?" I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. My husband's best friend was hitting on me. And suddenly it all made sense. The celebration at the restaurant. The encouragement for an open marriage. The constant visits. Everything had been planned. Not just by Michael, but by Brian too. Michael wanted Ashley, and Brian wanted me. "I need you to leave," I said. "Sarah, Brian, go away. Now." He raised his hands as if surrendering. "Okay, I'll go. But think about what I said. You deserve to be happy. And I can make you happy." When he left, I locked the door and leaned against it. My body was trembling, with anger, with disgust, with shock. They had planned everything. Michael wanted to be with Ashley without guilt, and Brian wanted me as a consolation prize. They both used the open marriage as an excuse to do what they wanted, as an excuse to cheat on me. That night, when Michael arrived home, I was in the kitchen making dinner. He came and hugged me from behind. Smells good. What are you doing?" "Lasagna. My favorite." He kissed my neck. "You look beautiful today." I moved away from him. I couldn't stand his touch anymore. I couldn't pretend anymore. "Michael, Brian was here today." He froze. "It's over." "What did he want?" "He came to visit me." "Visit you?" Michael laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. "And did you talk to him?" "I talked to him. He said some interesting things." "What kind of things?" I turned to look at him, to see his reaction. He said I should take advantage of the open marriage, that I should go out, meet other people. Michael was silent for a moment. Then he shrugged. Well, he's not wrong. You can do that if you want. If I want to. As if it were that simple. As if he hadn't destroyed our marriage. As if he hadn't been cheating on me for months. And would you be okay with that? I asked. If I went out with another man? Sarah, we have an open marriage. That's the agreement. Agreement. He called it an agreement. As if it were a business contract. As if our marriage were just a piece of paper that could be rewritten whenever he wanted. Okay, I said. Then I'll think about it. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about everything. The messages, the conversations, Brian hitting on me, Michael pretending everything was fine. They thought I was stupid. They thought I would accept everything silently. They thought I would just stand there, being manipulated, being used, while they did whatever they wanted. But they were wrong. Very wrong. Because I had decided one thing. I was going to keep pretending. I was going to keep gathering evidence. I was going to keep investigating. But when the time was right, I was going to expose everything. I was going to show everyone who they really were. And he was going to do it in the most public way. In the most humiliating way. In a way they would never forget. But before that, I needed to know more. I needed to be absolutely certain of everything. Because when I finally confronted them, I wanted to have all the cards in my hand. All the proof, all the evidence. And then, finally, I was going to be free. After Brian revealed that he always thought I was amazing and that he could make me happy, everything became more complicated. I started seeing him differently, not because I was interested, but because I was confused. Very confused. Michael kept going out. He kept coming home late. He kept being on his phone all the time, and he didn't even bother to hide it anymore. He'd go out and say, "I'm going to meet some friends," and that was it. He didn't give any more explanations, because in his mind, we had an open marriage now. He could do whatever he wanted. Meanwhile, Brian was showing up more and more often. He came to my house almost every day, always with some excuse, that he had passed by, that he wanted to know if Michael was there, that he had forgotten something last time. But the truth was that he came to see me. He came to be near me. One Wednesday afternoon, I was on the balcony having coffee when he arrived. Oi, Sarah. Hi, Brian. May I sit down? I didn't answer, but he sat down anyway. He stayed there beside me in silence for a few minutes. Are you okay? He asked. I am. It does not seem. I looked at him, at the way he was looking at me, with concern, with care, as if he really cared. Michael went out again, I said. I don't know why I said that. Maybe because I was tired of keeping everything to myself. Maybe because I needed to talk to someone. He's always going out. Brian shook his head. Sarah, I know you're hurting, and I hate seeing you like this. Did you know he was cheating on me before he asked for an open marriage? Brian was quiet. Then he sighed. I knew it. And you didn't tell me. I should have told you. I know. But Michael has been my best friend since college. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to tell you without ruining everything. I laughed. A weak laugh. And you think everything isn't destroyed now? It is. He approached. It's broken. And I hate that. Because you don't deserve to go through this. You deserve someone who values you, who treats you like the incredible woman you are. Brian, stop. Why? Why do I have to stop telling the truth? Sarah, I've always been in love with you. From day one. And seeing you married to Michael all these years has been hell for me. But I never said anything because you seemed happy. But now, you're not happy. And I can't stay silent anymore. I didn't know what to say. Part of me was angry with him. For not telling me about the betrayal. For helping Michael plan that scene at the restaurant. For being a part of it all. But another part of me, a small part, a part I didn't want to admit, was enjoying the attention. Was enjoying being seen, being desired, being valued. I need time, I said. I need to think. I'll give you all the time you need. He took my hand. Just don't push me away completely, please. When he left, I stayed there on the balcony, staring into nothingness, thinking about everything. Michael was openly cheating on me now. He wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. He'd go out, stay out late, come home smelling of another woman's perfume. And he didn't seem to care whether I noticed or not. And Brian was there, always present, always attentive, always treating me as if I were the most important thing in the world. I knew it was wrong. I knew he was part of the plan, that he had helped Michael deceive me. But at the same time, he was the only person giving me any kind of emotional support. In the following days, I began to notice how Michael was becoming increasingly careless. He no longer tried to hide his cell phone. He no longer tried to delete the messages. It was as if he had stopped caring altogether. One night, he arrived home at midnight. I was awake in the living room. He came in, saw me, and didn't even bother to make up an excuse. "Where were you?" I asked. "Outside." "With whom?" "Sarah. We have an open marriage. I don't need to give you explanations." "You're with her now, aren't you? With Ashley?" He stopped. He looked at me, and then he smiled. A cold smile. "What if I am?" That hurt. It hurt more than all the lies. Because there was the naked truth. He didn't care anymore. He wasn't trying to pretend anymore. He was rubbing his betrayal in my face. "You're a coward," I said. "I'm being honest. You agreed to an open marriage. That means I can see other people. And that's exactly what I'm doing. You were seeing her before you asked for an open marriage. You deceived me. You manipulated me. Proof." He crossed his arms. "Do you have proof of that?" I had it. I had all the proof, all the messages saved on my phone, but I wasn't going to show it to him yet. Not there. Not like that. "You're going to regret this," I said. "I know." He went up the stairs without looking back. The next day, Brian showed up again. I was crying in the kitchen. He came in, saw me, and ran over. "Sarah, what happened?" I told her. I told her about the previous night, about the way Michael had spoken to me, about how he had admitted everything without any remorse. Brian hugged me, and I let him. I was so tired, so hurt, so alone, that I let him hug me. "You don't deserve this," he whispered in my ear. "You deserve to be loved, to be respected, to be treated like a queen." And there, in that embrace, I felt safe. For the first time in months, I felt safe. But at the same time, I knew it was wrong. I knew I was confused. I knew I couldn't trust Brian completely, because he had been part of all of that. He had helped Michael deceive me, but the anger I felt towards Michael was so intense, and the attention Brian was giving me was so good, that I didn't know what to think anymore. I didn't know what to feel anymore. I was caught between the anger toward a man who had betrayed me and the attention of another man who said he loved me, and I had no idea how to get out of this situation. I only knew that something had to change, and soon. I needed more proof. I knew Michael was cheating on me with Ashley. I knew Brian had helped him plan everything, but I needed something more concrete, something that would leave no doubt, something that would show the true nature of their relationship. It was on a Friday night that I had my chance. Michael said he was going out with his work friends. He left around 8. Brian called half an hour later saying he wanted to come by to pick up a book he had lent to Michael. "He's not here," I said. Okay, I'll come by another day." But there was something strange in his voice, something nervous, as if he were hiding something. I hung up the phone and kept thinking, why was Brian nervous? Why did he want to know if Michael was home? And then an idea came to me. A risky idea. But I needed to know the truth. I took Michael's laptop. He always left it logged into his email account. He never imagined I would mess with it because he thought I was stupid, that I was naive, that I would never suspect anything. I opened his email. I started searching for messages from Ashley, searching for messages from Brian, searching for anything that would give me more information. And then I found it, an archived email folder named AM. I clicked, and there were hundreds of emails between Michael and Ashley, starting 8 months ago. 8 months. He'd been with her longer than I'd imagined. I started reading, email after email. They talked about dates, about hotels, about future plans. And then I saw something that made my blood run cold. An email from Michael to Ashley, dated 3 weeks before that awful dinner. "Honey, I'm going to ask Sarah for an open marriage next week. Brian is going to help me. We planned everything. She'll agree, I'm sure of it. And then we can be together without hiding. I just need a little more patience. Soon I'll be out of the house and we can start our life for real." I read it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, trying to process it. He had planned everything with Brian, and with Ashley. All 3 of them knew. All 3 were involved. And I was the only idiot who didn't know anything. But there was more. I kept reading, and I found emails between Michael and Brian, recent emails, from 2 weeks ago. Brian, "Dude, how's it going with Sarah?" Michael, "She's taking it well. I don't think she suspects a thing." Brian, "Great. And you think she'll accept it if I get closer to her?" Michael, "Accept how?" Brian, "Dude, you know I've always wanted her. We made a deal. You get Ashley, I get Sarah. Everyone's happy." I stopped breathing. They had made a deal. They had made an agreement about me, as if I were an object, as if I were something that could be traded, negotiated. Michael, "Brian, I don't know if that's a good idea." Brian, "Why not? You're going to leave the house anyway. You're going to stay with Ashley. Sarah will be alone. Why can't I be there for her? I've always taken care of her. I've always been a good friend. And you know I've always loved her." Michael, "Okay, do whatever you want, but wait until I leave the house first. I don't want any drama." I closed the laptop. My hands were shaking so much I could barely hold them. They had planned everything. Absolutely everything. The open marriage. Brian's approach. My future. Everything had been decided by the 2 of them. Without consulting me. Without asking me. Without caring about what I wanted. I grabbed my phone. I took pictures of every email. Every conversation. Every plan. Every betrayal. I saved everything. I kept it as evidence. And then I realized something. Brian wasn't really in love with me. He just wanted to possess me. Like a prize. Like something he'd desired for years and could finally have now that Michael was out of the way. He didn't love me. He wanted me. And that was completely different. That night, when Michael arrived home, I was in bed pretending to be asleep. He came into the room, took off his clothes, and lay down. I could smell her perfume on him. Ashley, the woman who had helped destroy my marriage. The next day, Brian showed up again, as usual. He had a box of chocolates in his hand. "Hi, Sarah. I brought this for you. I know you love chocolate." I looked at him, at his smile, at the way he was looking at me, and all I could see was lies, manipulation, betrayal. "Thank you." I took the box. "May I come in?" "Michael isn't here." "I know. I came to see you." He came in. He sat on the sofa. He looked at me with those eyes that feigned concern, that feigned affection. "Sarah, I wanted to talk to you about something." "About what?" "About us. Us. As if there were an us. As if there were already something between us. Brian, there is no us. Not yet, but it could happen. Sarah, I know you're hurt by Michael. I know he hurt you. But I'm here. I've always been here. And I can make you truly happy." I looked at him. And for a second, I thought about confronting him right there. About throwing in his face that I knew everything. That I had read the emails. That I knew he and Michael had made a deal about me. But I didn't do it. Because I wasn't ready yet. I still needed more time. More evidence. More proof. "I need time, Brian," I said. All of this is very difficult for me. I understand, and I will wait for as long as it takes. When he left, I locked the door and leaned against it. I had discovered the whole truth now. Michael wanted Ashley. Brian wanted me. And the two of them had orchestrated everything together. They had planned my life, my future, as if I had no voice, as if I didn't matter. But they had made a mistake. A big mistake. They had underestimated me. They had thought I would accept everything silently, that I would be manipulated without realizing it. But I realized. I figured it all out. And now I had all the cards in my hand. All the emails. All the messages. All the evidence. And when the time was right, I was going to use all of this. I was going to expose them both. I was going to show everyone who they really were. And I was going to walk out of this situation with my head held high. But before that, I still had some things to do, some questions to ask, and some decisions to make. I spent the next few days planning, thinking, deciding what my next move would be. I had all the evidence, all the emails, all the messages, but I needed to understand one thing. I needed to hear the truth from Michael's own mouth, or at least see if he would have the courage to lie to my face knowing that I suspected him. It was on a Tuesday night that I decided to confront him, but in a subtle way, in a way that wouldn't make it seem like I already knew everything. We were having dinner. He was on his phone, as usual. I was pretending everything was normal. "Michael, can I ask you a question?" He looked up. Are you happy? Like this. With an open marriage, with our life, are you happy?" He put down his phone. He looked at me with that face of someone who doesn't understand where I'm going with this. "I am. Why?" "I just wanted to know. Because I'm not." Silence. He kept looking at me, trying to understand what I was saying. "Sarah, we agreed. Open marriage. Freedom for two. We didn't plan anything, Michael. You decided. You announced it in front of everyone. And I agreed because I was afraid of losing you. But now I realize I lost you a long time ago. What are you talking about?" I took a deep breath. "You have someone, don't you? Someone specific. It's not just an open marriage. You're in a relationship with another person." He turned pale. For a second. Just a second. But I saw it. "No. Michael, don't lie to me. I'm not lying. I date a few people. Nothing serious. Some people or one person. Sarah, why are you doing this?" "Because I deserve the truth. I deserve to know what's going on in my own marriage." He stood up from the table. "You're being paranoid. You agreed to an open marriage. Now you have to deal with the consequences." "And Brian? Is he part of the consequences too?" Michael froze. He turned to me slowly. "What does Brian have to do with this?" "He's always here. Always giving me attention. Always saying I deserve more. Did you ask him to do this?" "Of course not. Brian is my friend. If he's being nice to you, it's because he cares. Are you worried or do you want something?" "Sarah, you're going crazy." I stood up too. I looked him straight in the eyes. "I'm not going crazy, Michael. I'm getting smart. Something's going on here, between you, Brian, and this whole life you've planned. And I'm going to find out what it is. There's nothing to discover. So look me in the eyes and tell me, are you cheating on me?" Silence. He stood there, looking at me, and I saw the guilt. I saw the lie. I saw everything. "I'm not cheating on you. We have an open marriage. An open marriage that you asked for after already being with someone else. That's not an open marriage, Michael. That's cheating with permission." He took a step toward me. "You're making things up in your head." "Am I? Then why can't you look me in the eye and deny it? Why are you sweating? Why are you nervous?" "I'm not nervous." "Yes, it is. Because you know I'm right. You know I've got you." Michael ran his hand through his hair. That gesture he always made when he was stressed. "Sarah, I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to fight either. I just want the truth." The truth is, our marriage was dead a long time ago. The truth is, we don't connect anymore. The truth is, I need more from life than this. That hurt. It hurt more than I expected. Because there was the confirmation. He didn't love me anymore. Maybe he never truly loved me. And Brian? Does he also need more from life? Leave Brian out of this. Why? He's part of it. He helped you plan everything. I know he helped. Michael was quiet. Very quiet. And I knew I'd hit the nail on the head. You planned everything together. The dinner, the proposal, his reaction. It was all staged. Sarah. And now he's here. Always present. Always giving me attention. Because that was the plan from the beginning, wasn't it? You stay with your mistress. He stays with me. Everyone's happy. You're delusional. Am I right? Or are you lying? He grabbed his car keys. I'm not going to stand here and listen to this. Sure, run away, like always. When things get tough, you run away. I'm going to sleep out tonight. At her house. He stopped at the door. He turned to me. And for the first time, he didn't deny it. He simply left and slammed the door. I stood there, in the middle of the room, alone. He had confirmed everything without saying a word. He had shown me who he really was. I picked up my phone. I looked at the photos, the emails, the messages. I had everything, all the evidence. But confronting him like that had shown me something more important. He was no longer ashamed. He was no longer guilty. He no longer cared. If he didn't care, why should I keep fighting for that marriage? The next day, Brian showed up. As usual. He came in and saw me in the kitchen. I was having coffee, trying to process everything that had happened the night before. Sarah, are you okay? Michael told me you two had a fight. Of course, he told her. Of course, they had already talked about it. I am fine. It doesn't seem like it. He came closer. He put his hand on my shoulder. You can talk to me. You know that. I looked at his hand, at the way he was touching me, and all I could think about was the emails, the plan, the betrayal. Brian, can I ask you a question? Of course. Did you know Michael was cheating on me before he asked for an open marriage? He hesitated, just for a second. But I saw. I had my suspicions. Suspicions or certainty. Sarah, I didn't mean to hurt you. But you hurt me. You helped him deceive me. You were part of all of this. I did it because I wanted to protect you. Protect myself. How? By being complicit in the betrayal. He sighed. I didn't know what to do. He's my best friend. But you've always been special to me. Special enough for you to use me as a consolation prize. He froze. What are you talking about? I know, Brian. I know everything. I know you and Michael planned this together. I know you made a deal. He stays with his mistress. You stay with me. His face turned white. Sarah, it's not like that. Isn't it? Then explain it to me. He didn't answer, because he had no way to explain. He had no way to deny it. I think it's best if you leave, I said. Sarah, please. Go away, Brian. And don't come back. When he left, I leaned against the wall and took a deep breath. I had confronted them both. I had thrown it in their faces that I knew. And now there was no going back. But you know what? It made me feel strong. For the first time in months, I felt in control. Because I was no longer the ignorant victim. I was the woman who knew everything, and who was going to decide her own destiny. Have you ever had to confront someone about a lie that was destroying you inside? Have you ever needed to look someone in the eye and demand the truth? Tell me about it in the comments. I want to hear your story too. After the confrontations with Michael and Brian, the tension at home became unbearable. Michael barely looked at me. He would leave early and come back late. And when he was home, he would stay locked in his room or glued to his cell phone. But I knew that at some point we were going to have a real conversation. We were going to have to put all our cards on the table. And that moment arrived in a way I never imagined. Jennifer called me on a Thursday. Sarah, I'm having a dinner party on Saturday. Nothing too big. Just a few friends. Are you and Michael coming? I hesitated. The last thing I wanted was to go out with Michael, to pretend everything was okay in front of our friends. I don't know, Jennifer. Please, Sarah. It's been a long time since we've seen each other properly, and I miss you. Okay, I'll go. On Saturday, I got ready. Michael came down already dressed too. We went together in the car in total silence. When we arrived at Jennifer's house, there were already some people there. Mark and Lisa, Tom and Jennifer, and Brian. Of course he was there. Dinner started calmly. Normal conversation, good food. But the tension was there. Between me and Michael, between me and Brian. Everyone could feel it. It was in the middle of dinner that everything exploded. Mark was telling a story about a couple he knew who had gotten divorced. And then he looked at me and Michael. But you guys are doing well, right? With this open marriage thing. Silence. Everyone fell quiet, waiting for an answer. Michael cleared his throat. We're adapting. I looked at him. And something inside me broke. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't pretend anymore. I couldn't lie anymore. We're not okay, I said. My voice came out louder than I intended. We're not okay at all. Michael glared at me angrily. Sarah, now is not the time. Isn't it time? When will it be time, Michael? When will you stop pretending? When will you stop lying? I'm not lying. Yes, you are. You're lying to everyone here. You're lying to yourself. Everyone at the table was staring. Jennifer looked frightened. Lisa had her hand over her mouth. Michael threw the napkin on the table. He stood up. You want to do this here? In front of everyone? Why not? You asked me for an open marriage in front of everyone. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I didn't humiliate you. Yes, you humiliated me. And you know what's worse? You were cheating on me for months when you did that. You already had someone else. You just wanted an excuse to keep cheating on me without feeling guilty. The people at the table started whispering. Michael blushed. Sarah, shut up. No, I'm not going to shut up. Not anymore. I've been silent for too long. I've accepted your lies, your excuses, your manipulations. But it's over. I want the truth. In front of everyone. Do you love me? Sarah, do you love me? I shouted. Silence. A heavy silence. Painful. Michael looked at me. And then he said it, with a coldness that cut me in two. No, I don't love you. I haven't loved you for years. I heard Jennifer sigh. I heard Lisa begin to cry softly. But I didn't take my eyes off Michael. How long has it been? I don't know. 5, 6 years? I stopped counting. I stayed with you out of convenience. Out of fear of starting over. Out of fear of being judged. But then I met Ashley. And I realized I was wasting my life, that I deserved to be happy. And I didn't deserve it. You deserved someone who truly loved you, but that someone was never me. Not really. I pretended. For years. And I'm tired of pretending. I want my freedom, Sarah. I want to live my life without having to give explanations, without having to fake feelings I don't have. Each word was like a stab wound. But strangely, I felt relieved. Because finally the truth had been told. Finally, there were no more lies. Okay then, I said. My voice was calm now. I want a divorce. And I want you to leave my house. Soon. Michael grabbed his car keys and left. He slammed the door so hard that the glasses on the table shook. I stood there, sitting, feeling all eyes on me. And then I started to cry. Not from sadness, but from relief, from freedom, from finally being able to breathe. Jennifer came to hug me. Sarah, I'm so sorry. Don't worry, it's okay. Everything will be okay. And it was at that moment that Brian stood up. He had been quiet the whole time, watching. But now he stood up and came over to where I was. Sarah, he said. His voice was trembling. I need to say something. And I need to say it now. In front of everyone. because I can't keep it in anymore. I looked at him. Brian, no. I love you, he said. Loud. Clear. In front of everyone. I've loved you since the day I met you. 15 years ago. I've loved you since Michael brought you to meet us at college. And I kept quiet all these years because you were happy. Or at least I thought you were. But then I saw Michael cheating on you. I saw him planning this open marriage. And I participated. I helped him. And I hate myself for it. I hate myself because I should have told you. I should have protected you. But I was a coward. I was selfish. Because deep down, I thought that if Michael got out of the way, I would have my chance. I would have the chance to show you how much I love you. How much I've always loved you. Everyone at the table was in shock. Jennifer's mouth was agape. Mark looked from Brian to me. Lisa was still crying. I know you probably hate me now, Brian continued. I know I betrayed your trust, that I was part of the lie. But my feelings for you have always been real, always been true. And I know I don't have the right to ask this, but I'm asking anyway. Give me a chance to prove that I can be different, that I can make you happy, that I can give you the love you've always deserved and never had. I kept looking at him, at the way he was looking at me. His eyes were full of emotion, completely vulnerable, in front of everyone. He had exposed himself. He had risked everything. Brian, my voice came out weak. You were part of the lie. You hurt me too. I know. And I'll spend the rest of my life making up for it. If you let me. Sarah, I've been paying attention to you all these years. I know you drink your coffee without sugar, that you love old movies, that you cry at dog commercials. I know you. Really. And I love you. Really. Tears streamed down my face, because for the first time, someone had seen me. Someone had paid attention. Someone had truly known me. I don't know if I can trust you, I said. I don't know if I can trust anyone right now. So let me prove it. Let me show you that I'm different from Michael, that I value you, that I respect you, that I truly love you. Everyone at the table was watching, waiting for my answer. Jennifer was smiling slightly, as if she were rooting for us. I need time, I finally said. I need to process all of this. The divorce, the betrayal, my feelings. But I'm not saying no. I'm just saying, not now. Brian nodded. A small smile appeared on his face. I'll wait. As long as you need. I'll be here. Always. He went back to his seat, and dinner continued. But everything had changed. Michael had admitted that he never loved me, that he only wanted freedom. Brian had confessed his love in front of everyone. He had completely exposed himself. And me. I finally had the truth. Painful. Raw. But it was the truth. When I got home that night, the house was empty. Michael had already packed his things. He had already left. And for the first time in months, I breathed a sigh of relief. My marriage was over. But maybe, just maybe, something new was beginning. Something real. Something true. I still didn't know if I could trust Brian. I still didn't know if I could forgive him for participating in the lie. But one thing I knew. He had been honest. In front of everyone. He had risked everything. And that meant something. Maybe it meant everything. The days following that dinner were filled with decisions. I couldn't postpone it any longer. I couldn't live in that uncertainty any longer. It was time to put an end to it all. I called Jennifer, Lisa, and some close friends. I arranged a lunch. I needed people to know the whole truth, not just the bits and pieces they'd seen at that dinner, but everything. When we sat down, I took a deep breath. I asked you to come here because I need to tell you the whole truth about Michael, about Brian, about everything that has happened in the last few months. And then I told her about the messages I discovered, about the emails between Michael and Ashley starting 8 months ago, about the conversations between Michael and Brian planning the open marriage, about the agreement they made. Michael would stay with Ashley, Brian would stay with me. I showed them the photos I had taken, the screenshots of the messages, the printed emails, everything. Jennifer put her hand to her mouth. Sarah, my God, this is awful. I know, but now you all know. Now everyone knows the whole truth. Lisa took my hand. And what are you going to do? I'm going to get a divorce. I've already called the lawyer. I've already started the process. That afternoon, when I got home, Michael was there. He had come to pick up a few more things. Sarah, we need to talk about dividing the assets. I know. My lawyer will send everything to you. He hesitated. Did you show the messages to anyone? I showed it. I showed it to my friends. I showed it to my lawyer. I showed it to everyone who needed to know the truth about who you really are. He turned pale. Why? Why did you have to do that? Because you made me look crazy. You made me look paranoid. You made me accept an open marriage based on lies. And I'm not going to let you get away with this as the nice guy who just wanted freedom. People need to know that you were cheating on me for months, that you planned everything with Brian, that you used me. Sarah, this will ruin my reputation. You should have thought about that before betraying me. He picked up his boxes and left, without saying anything else, and I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. It was finally over. Finally, I could move on. That night, Brian called me. Sarah, I heard you told everything to your friends. I told them. They deserved to know the truth. I understand. And I want you to know that I accept the consequences. I participated in that, and I will bear the burden of it. Brian, I'm still processing everything. I'm still trying to understand my feelings. I know, and I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that I'm still here, if you need me, for anything. In the following days, I began to see things differently. Michael had betrayed me. He had lied to me. He had manipulated me. But Brian had been honest in the end. He had exposed himself in front of everyone. He had risked everything. Could I trust him? Could I give him a chance? I wasn't sure. But one thing I knew. I didn't want to live in fear for the rest of my life. I didn't want to close my heart forever just because I'd been hurt. So I sent a message to Brian. Would you like to have coffee with me tomorrow? The answer came in seconds. Yes, of course. What time? 3:00 in the afternoon. At that coffee shop near the park. I'll be there. When I turned off my phone, I smiled. A small smile, but a real one. I was taking a step. A small step, but it was a step. I was revealing the truth. I was confronting the past. I was getting divorced. And I was starting to consider giving Brian another chance. I didn't know if it would work out. I didn't know if I could trust him completely. But I was willing to try. I was willing to open my heart again. Because in the end, life was about taking risks. It was about choosing to believe. It was about giving chances. And maybe, just maybe, Brian deserved that chance. And I deserved to be happy again. 6 months have passed since that dinner. 6 months since my life turned upside down. 6 months since I discovered who the people around me really were. The divorce was finalized 3 months ago. Michael kept some of the assets. I kept the house. We divided everything fairly. No fighting, no drama. Just 2 strangers closing a chapter. I heard from Jennifer that he's living with Ashley now. That they're happy. And you know what? I don't care. I really don't care. Because I finally understood that Michael was never mine. And I was never his. We were only together out of habit, out of fear, out of convenience. And Brian was different from what I expected. After that coffee, we started seeing each other regularly. But he kept his word, slowly, without pressure, without expectations. He was just there, always there. He would take me out to dinner. We'd go to the movies. We'd walk in the park. We'd talk for hours about everything and nothing. And every day, I discovered a new side of him, a side I'd never seen when he was just Michael's best friend. I saw the way he treated people, with kindness, with respect. I saw the way he listened to me when I spoke, truly, not pretending. not distracted by his cell phone, but really paying attention to every word. I saw the way he remembered small details. The movie I mentioned I wanted to see. The song I said I liked. The book I mentioned I was reading. He paid attention, and that meant everything. But I also saw his flaws, because he wasn't perfect. He was stubborn sometimes. He forgot to reply to messages. He left things to the last minute. But you know what was different? He admitted it. He didn't pretend. He didn't hide it. Sarah, I'm a disaster sometimes, but I'm trying to be better. For you. For me. For us. Us. That word gradually started to make sense, because we were building something. Something real. Something honest. Something completely different from what I had experienced with Michael. It was on a Friday night, 3 months ago, that everything changed. We were having dinner at an Italian restaurant, red wine, candles on the table, soft music playing in the background. Brian took my hand across the table. Sarah, I need to tell you something. My heart raced. What? I love you. I know I've said it before, but now it's different. Because now I really know you. Not the idea of you, not the fantasy, but you, the real Sarah, with your quirks, your fears, your insecurities, your strengths, and I love you even more. I love you in a way I've never loved anyone before, and I want to build a life with you, if you'll let me. Tears streamed down my face, good tears this time, tears of happiness. I love you too, Brian, and I'm scared, very scared, but I trust you. For the first time in a long time, I trust someone. He smiled, that beautiful smile that lit up everything around him. You won't regret it. I promise. And he kept his promise. In the following months, Brian showed me what it meant to be truly loved. He would wake me up with coffee in bed. He would leave notes around the house telling me how special I was. He would surprise me with dinners, with flowers, with small gestures that showed he was thinking of me. But more than that, he showed me what it meant to have a partner, someone who shared responsibilities, someone who asked for my opinion, someone who respected me, someone who saw me as an equal. He never made me feel small. He never made me question my worth. He never made me feel like I was an obstacle in his path. I was his priority, and he was mine. Today, as I write this in my mind, I look back and see everything that happened, the betrayal, the lies, the pain, the new beginning, and I realize something. That awful dinner where Michael proposed an open marriage, that night, that destroyed everything. It was actually the best thing that could have happened, because it freed me. It showed me who really mattered. It gave me a chance to start over. I look at Brian now, sitting on the sofa, reading a book. He looks up and smiles at me, and I smile back. A genuine smile. Happy, complete, because I found what I've always been looking for. I found someone who truly loves me, who values me, who respects me, who makes me laugh, who makes me feel alive. And more than that, I found myself. I found my strength, my voice, my courage. I learned that I don't need to accept crumbs, that I deserve the whole feast, that I deserve to be happy. The journey was painful. It was difficult. It was full of tears and sleepless nights. But it was worth it. Every second was worth it. Because now I know what it is to truly love and be loved. I know what it is to have a real partner. I know what it is to be truly happy. And when I look to the future, I no longer see fear. I no longer see uncertainty. I see possibilities. I see dreams. I see a life built on true love, on honesty, on trust. Brian gets up from the sofa and comes over to me. He hugs me from behind. He kisses my neck. What are you thinking about? How lucky I am. I'm the lucky one here, he whispers in my ear. You're the best gift life could have given me. And there, in that embrace, in that moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace, complete happiness, true love. My story didn't have the happy ending I imagined. It had the happy ending I deserved. And that makes all the difference. Because sometimes we need to lose everything to gain what truly matters. Sometimes we need to go through darkness to appreciate the light. Sometimes we need to have our hearts broken so they can heal stronger. And I wouldn't change a thing. Because everything has brought me here, to this moment, to this happiness, to this love. And I am grateful for everything, even for the pain. Because the pain transformed me. It made me grow. It made me who I am today. A strong woman, a happy woman, a loved woman, a complete woman. If you're going through something similar to what I went through, I want you to know one thing. You deserve more. You deserve to be truly loved. You deserve honesty. You deserve respect. Don't accept crumbs when you deserve the whole feast. Don't stay in a relationship out of fear of being alone. Because being alone is better than being with someone who doesn't value you. Have the courage to start over. Have the courage to break free. Have the courage to seek the happiness you deserve. Life is too short to live unhappily. To accept betrayal. To accept lies. To accept less than you deserve. What did you learn from my story? How did it affect you? Tell me in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to receive more stories like this.